I think in the beginning, when you are trying to establish yourself in this business and you're just trying to get people's attention and not be one of the herd that are soliciting publishers or labels or whatever your flavor is, it's really hard to step from that level to the next, where people turn around and they look for Dean. They look, or let's say, in the production music case, we need to do a release. And I saw this, Dean, recently. You were doing a Christmas album for somebody. The way I saw it was that, a publisher came to you and said, "Hey, can you do this for us?"
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, or maybe we've already answered it, but what do you think was the difference between that stage where you're constantly seeking the attention and trying to get some traction to being the guy that they come to? Is it just relationships, or is there something a little bit more kind of nuanced even than that?
I think it's everything. Because when I started doing this, I was at first I was probably doing it wrong, because I was just hustling. I go to conferences and will you listen to my stuff? And that's the wrong thing to do. I learned really quickly that if you're going to, and I think going to conferences, music conferences, is a great thing to do, because you can actually get FaceTime with your peers and maybe with some publishers, record people, all that. But the approach that I learned worked the best is to take a long-term approach, not I need to get something signed right now today because I need to make money, because that's really not this business anyway. The long-term approach being, okay, I'm going to go to these conferences for maybe 5 of them or 4 of them or 3 or 1 of them for 3 years. And I'm going to show up and I'm just going to hang out, and might offer to buy somebody coffee or buy them lunch or whatever. I'm just going to hang out and talk about stuff. What you're doing there with both your peers and with publishers is you're developing trust relationships. You're not the guy or the girl that's coming just trying to shove their music down their throat. So it's a longer process, I think, than some people wish it was, than I wish it was. I mean, I wish it was just overnight, but it's a long process. So I think you get that FaceTime. I think you can solicit people on phones and on email. You just do it as a pro. If you're sending somebody an email, which I think is a great thing to do for libraries, probably send them a very short email, 2 sentences. Nobody's going to read paragraphs and paragraphs of somebody they don't know. And send and ask them if you can submit music, or how you would do that. Those are all great things. But to get from where I was out soliciting, it was a process. It did take a number of years for me. I guess maybe on my second year of doing this, I did have some companies that I had done a few songs for that said, "Hey, can you do this too? Or can you do this style?" And so they were soliciting me. They were soliciting me, but they weren't paying me up front yet. They were then, but I took them. I was hungry for gigs, and I knew by then that the back end, the royalties that you made a year and a half, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road would come. So I think it was a process of meeting more people, getting better at my craft, always doing what I said I was going to do. If you said you could deliver this CD in 3 weeks, we'll deliver it in 3 weeks. If you said it was going to take you, if you can't deliver it in 3 weeks, we'll tell them up front it's going to take me 2 months to do these 10 songs, and then deliver it exactly when you said you're going to do. Don't overpromise. So just being professional, really, in that sense. But yeah, it was a climb. It was a slow but steady climb of doing stuff and overcoming frustration, because you're not seeing, rock star money at the beginning, and you're usually waiting. You're even after your first signing, you're going to wait a year for your first money. Unless you get paid money up front, because even if it goes on a show tomorrow, it's going to take 9 months to get that check in your country. And from a foreign country, whatever is foreign to you, it could take 18 months before you see that money. So it's a process, but if you stay true and stay steady and keep pushing and learning and growing and studying and connecting over a period of years, your royalty stream will grow, and people seeking you out will grow, and then people seeking you out and paying you upfront money will grow. But it's a process, and I was no different than anybody else. When I started, I didn't know anything about the business. And I thought, great, I signed this song. I'm going to make, thousands of dollars in the next 3 months. Nope. That's not, that doesn't normally happen. Sure. There is you can win the lottery, and you're right out of the bat, your first song gets on a national commercial that pays $30,000 up front. And, that probably won't happen again for 10 years, but yeah, you can get lucky out of the box, but that's not really how you build a career anyway. So
yeah, I think the sooner you can come to grips with the fact that it's a long game, it probably changes the way you approach relationships too. Yep. If you think about being 20 years old and when is my big break going to happen, and there's all this sort of pent-up energy on it. This could be the moment when this happens for me or doesn't. Whereas in the world you're describing, it's decades long, possibly, this road. And so you don't have such anxiety about every person you meet and where it's going to go. And maybe it allows you to just be a little bit more chill about everything. Knowing that you've got time, and it's not going to take one big break. It takes dozens of breaks, really.
And like you say, being more chill about things, getting in that mindset makes you much better in conversations when you're meeting people and stuff, because you're not trying to get, I think that's enough. You're not trying to get from somebody. I mean, I think another mindset to have is to really think in terms of not what I'm getting from a publisher or what I'm getting from a library, but what can I give to them? What can I do for them? I've heard a couple stories like this, and I've advised a lot of people that are looking for libraries. If you want to approach a certain publisher, approach a certain library, first go to their catalog and look through it and see if there are any holes in it. Maybe they have, maybe they have 10 different kinds of rock music. You do rock. Maybe they have, metal rock and southern rock and swamp rock but maybe they don't have indie rock, or maybe they don't have postmodern rock. And if you can fill one of those holes in a really good way, you can even approach them saying, "I noticed you didn't have postmodern rock in your catalog. Are you interested in picking up one of those CDs?" They might say, "Well, send me a link. What do you have? Let me listen to what you have." So I think that's always a good approach too. What can I give? What can I do for them, instead of, what can I get? I always want to, and that's, I think that works well in life too. That's a life skill.
Yeah.